In this example, we're going to go through images, some of the different options for using them, file types, and how you're going to use them in the web, either as a foreground image or a background image. A foreground image should be a prominent part of your page, and you'll need to describe it to audiences who can't see the image. So those will have alt tags. Background images are for display purposes only, and it will work fine for the person who is accessing the page without styles or without the ability to see the images to not know that they're there. They're only there for visual styles. I have several types of background images on this page. I'm actually just using one image multiple times, which is not what your assignment asks you to do. You're supposed to use a variety of different images, but I was trying to focus on how they're being used. I have several types of background image. You'll notice that I have one image which is running up and down the whole page, and this is done for the style section. In the body, I have my background color, my font family, and then my background image. Notice that my background image, I give it a URL and the name of star.ping, that's this file, and I have a background repeat Y. For the web page, Y is your Y-axis. It's repeating up and down. I'll get to a div tag later where I'm repeating horizontally. That would be X. The background position is left. If I were to change that, and I'm using Firebug here, so it works a little different than the default browser one. So I can change it to the right or I can change it to the left. I'm not sure if center works, we'll find out. Nope. So you get, oh, it does. So you get your choice of right, left, or center, and then it will repeat in that position. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the left. I have a default container style with a container here. I'm using a dot, which means it's a class. A class I can use multiple times. I've set the maximum width. There is no default background to this. I'm going to inspect different elements so you can see where I'm using them or how I'm using them. So here I have using and formatting images on the web. Then I have my icons style, and here I'm using the class container. I've got my title and I've got a link to where you can find information on the Google Material Design icons. These are samples of the icons that I'm using. On the Material Google Design page, which I link to, it has all the information of the different icons that are available and how to use them. So you can look at the Material Design guidelines for more information on how to use them, but this is a list of all of the icons that they have available. You'll need a link to be able to use them, and the link will go into your HTML code. You can copy on my sample code from the assignment or go to web105.mccdgm.net and if I go into the head section of my HTML, you can see that I have the link that I copied from Google's Material Design site. This is the whole link that you would need to copy into your page to be able to use the material icons. To use the icons, and this is the container that I have them in, you simply use the I class equals material icons. That's letting me use this information here, and then I have each one's name, so you can see it's highlighting as I roll over it. So this one is accessibility, Android, favorite, copyright, face, thumb up, thumb down, cue music, call end, chat bubble, and weekend. So those are some really common icons. You can also download them as images, but for extra credit I encourage you to try putting in some icons using the material design icons, and you can go here to this page and to the links there to find out more about how to use it. In the next container I have a background image, and it goes all the way across. This has an X repeat, so the star is repeating across, and I'm deliberately doing this to show you that it's hard to read text against a background image. I have a dark background with a bright image. It's almost impossible to find text that will work across both of those, so this is something that you shouldn't do. In my next div, I just have a little discussion on image formats. There's 4 image formats that you'll commonly use on the web. A JPEG, which is typically for photographs. GIFs are usually used for line drawings. PNGs can be used for either. They're the largest file format, but they have all the functionality of both GIFs and JPEGs. And the new one is SVG, Scalable Vector Graphic, which draws graphics by math with geometry to define the lines and shapes. They're a lot smaller size, and they're really only for line drawings. This is the first time we're going to introduce using CSS for alignment. You can float an image to the left or the right. That will break the normal structure of a web page, which puts things from top to bottom one beneath each other. So you have to return to that normal layout by using a clear statement. So here you can see that I have a float left on the image, and then the paragraph which is next to it floats up next to it. I put another paragraph beneath it where I clear, and I'm clearing both left and right. I could have just cleared left, and that will return the normal flow of my document. Then I have an image style float right for the star, so it's floating to the right. I have the text floating to the right, and then again I have a paragraph after that clearing the float. Whenever you float left or right and you can't float center, you do need to clear when you want to return to the normal document flow. Then I have my final container here where I'm making a responsive image. And you'll notice here that I have a style with the width of 50% and a height of auto. That will make the width and height proportionate. And if you watch as I reflow the page, the image will get larger or smaller because it's a percentage of the page size. That's one of the steps in making a responsive design that will work for both mobile and traditional desktop layout. So you can look through the code on your own. This is just an example of how to use images in different ways and with different layouts on the web.